So, what is the solution? Well, here it is. Come when you can. If you don't, you don't. Doesn't matter if you're sick, you're out of town, you have a football game, or you just forgot. There's no makeups, there's no rescheduled days, there's no refunds, and there's no credits. Welcome to the Piano Sensei Way. I am your host, Clinton Pratt, and I am here to help you master the art of running a successful piano teaching studio. Do you have trouble with clients who want to get a refund or credit for a missed lesson? Are you getting paid different amounts every month because there's different amounts of lessons and some people want a credit and so you have to change their amount? Well, I've got the solution. Here at the Piano Sensei Way, we believe in the flat rate tuition. Same amount all year round, every month. It's so much easier. And related to that is attendance, rescheduling, and your calendar. So those are the things we're going to be talking about today so that you don't have to keep track of attendance. You don't have to keep trying to reschedule. You don't have to figure out if an absence is excused or not. You don't have to chase down payments. You don't have to worry about losing income in the summer. And you can focus on teaching. I call this migraine free. I've given presentations on this at multiple conferences called Migraine Free Management. But the whole point is so that it's easier. It's easier for you, it's easier for parents, it's easier on the students so that you can focus on teaching. That's the whole point, right? To teach piano. We don't have to be spending time and worrying and spending our effort on chasing down payments and sending invoices. I've never once sent an invoice in 25 years of teaching. So these are the things we're going to be talking about: attendance, flat rate tuition, and calendar. Really, the focus of it is how to do a flat rate tuition, but attendance and the calendar are related. So we will discuss that. And by the way, if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, please note there is a video version on YouTube, The Piano Sensei Way. And of course, I try to make it the best possible experience just with audio, but sometimes I do have visuals, and this is one of them. So I have a little slideshow, but I'm going to be reading off of it. So if you can't see it, that's fine. But some people are visual and like to see that. And then also I'm going to show you the tuition calculator that I created later, and so that will be nice to see. So rescheduling, I know some common procedures that many teachers have are 24-hour notice, right? So it seems reasonable. If you give 24-hour notice, for a cancellation or reschedule, then, that's fine. Then the teacher will reschedule it at another time. Or, what about emergencies? Maybe if it's an emergency, then you'll make an exception. There might be something like 2 per term. I know teachers have you can reschedule, but, only up to a certain number. Or maybe you have a makeup week. I did this, and it's not where you learn how to put on eyeshadow and lipstick. A makeup week is where you reschedule lessons that need to be made up during that week. So there's no normal lessons that week. So I guess if nobody needs one, then you have that week off. Some teachers do a group makeup class. And again, it's not how to put on eyeshadow and lipstick. It's just anyone who gets a makeup lesson comes to a group instead. And then there's also teachers who give a credit if you can't reschedule. Okay, but here's what I think about all those. No, 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 and you guessed it, no. Now again, this is the Piano Sensei way, and of course I believe my way is the best way. So that's why you're here, to learn from the Piano Sensei. So I don't judge anyone or anything. Like, if you do these policies and that works for you, that's fine. That's you. That's your way. I'm just sharing my way, and my opinion is no, don't do any of those. And from my experience, it's so much better and so much easier. So what is the solution? Well, here it is. Come when you can. If you don't, you don't. It doesn't matter if you're sick, you're out of town, you have a football game, or you just forgot. There's no makeups, there's no rescheduled days, there's no refunds, and there's no credits. Now, I should either be hearing cheering and applause right now or griping and complaining and crying because you're thinking, how do you even do this? There's no way. Okay. But this isn't the public policy. Okay. I don't put this in the policy because it sounds so harsh. You say something like this: regular attendance is expected and encouraged in order to gain maximum benefit from music instruction. However, some missed lessons are inevitable. Therefore, tuition has been formulated to account for such instances. Tuition remains consistent regardless of the number of lessons attended. No credits or refunds are given. Okay, now I do have to say that sometimes I do reschedule if I can and if I want to, but I'm not obligated to, and clients don't expect it. I'll share some real examples in a moment. Here's the rest of the attendance policy. Instructor may cancel lessons from time to time for various reasons, including, but not limited to, personal illness, inclement weather, or professional travel. Although planning and scheduling is done ahead of time, see calendar, life happens. Tuition already accounts for such circumstances. So I'm going to give you some examples of real life situations. So here are some actual conversations from student cancellations. A parent said, "We're going to be out of town next Monday. We'll see you the following week." And I said, "Thanks for letting me know. Have a great time." Next one. "Sorry we missed today's lesson. Excuse, blah, 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 blah." And I said, "That's okay. It happens. See you next week." Here's another one. "Something came up and Philip has to miss his lesson." And I said, "Actually, I have an opening on 2:30 at Friday if you want to take that." And they said, "Great. We'll see you then." So as you can see, it's not always no, I don't reschedule. It's just that usually they don't expect it. They don't ask. In fact, in that third example where Philip had to miss his lesson, they didn't even ask. They just said, "Something came up, we have to miss." But I had an opening and I was happy to see him in that spot, so I offered it. No one ever brings up the fact that they deserve something. Sometimes I offer them the slot, but again, it's not expected and I'm not obligated to do so. Here are some examples of teacher cancellations. I know this is a unique one, so I know a lot of teachers do have a similar policy with student cancellations, but then, oh, if the teacher misses, then of course I reschedule. Well, not me. Here we go. This was back in January, and there's screenshots of these actual texts if you want to see them on the video. I said, "I'm so sorry, but I'm homesick today. No piano. Please confirm you got the message." And they said, "Got the message. Hope you feel better soon." The next person, I just copied and pasted the same text to everybody. The next person said, "Okay, hope you feel better soon. Take care." That's almost the exact same thing as the first one. And then the third one, "Got it. Hope you feel better soon." Literally, that's what everybody said. Nobody said, "Oh, okay, well, when are we making it up?" And think about that. If you're sick or you have some sort of emergency come up, do you really want to try to have to figure out when you're going to reschedule all your lessons? Not only do you feel crappy, now you have to stress and take care of your schedule at the same time? No, 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 no. If you're sick, just cancel. It's so much easier. We should get sick days too, right? Piano teachers should get paid sick days. And this is a paid sick day because I'm paid the same no matter what. All right, moving on to tuition. Common procedures are pay per lesson. So the student shows up and they pay for the lesson right there. Or maybe they pay per month based on the number of lessons. So here's the beginning of November. We're going to have 4 lessons. So here's my payment for 4 lessons. Some teachers do pay per term or a semester. You pay for the whole thing. Maybe you give credits for cancellations. And maybe you do have a flat fee every month, like I do, but you adjust for certain circumstances. And maybe you have a materials fee, enrollment fee, registration fee. So again, what I think about all of these is no, 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 and you guessed it, no. So the solution is to have a flat monthly fee. Everything is included, so there's no other fees like materials, registration, enrollment, etc. It's the same amount every month. It's the same amount all year round, including June, July, August, September. It doesn't change, and there's no adjustments or credits, period. Now, I'm sure you can already see the benefits of this. That's a steady income. It's also predictable spending for the clients. They can budget the same amount every month. They know what it's going to be. Who really wants to pay different amounts every month anyway? It's more like a membership, right? You pay for your gym membership and then you go, or you don't go, but you pay for it. So the mindset here with flat fee versus lesson fee is very important because tuition includes many things besides the lesson time. I'll never forget Martha Hilly one time at a conference. I heard her say, oh, and I can't do her beautiful accent justice. She said, student isn't paying for 30 minutes of my time. They're not paying for a 30-minute lesson. They're paying for me. And everybody cheered, right? Why is that? Well, because it's true. You have Martha Hilly as a teacher. You're paying to have Martha Hilly as a teacher. You're not paying for a 30-minute slot because she's going to wake up in the middle of the night and think of a solution for you or think of a piece while she's at the store and right? And so there's all sorts of things that goes into it. It's not just the 30 minutes. Some of the things that it includes besides the lesson time, your preparation time, your training and experience, recital costs and preparation, teacher memberships and subscriptions, books and music and materials, studio expenses like rent, insurance, software, instruments, tunings and repairs, internet, coffee and tea. Yes, you need those little things matter. Conferences and continuing education, and other things. Their tuition is paying for all of these things. It's not just for a time slot in your schedule. So for your calendar then, common procedures are that you have a different number of lessons per month, and so there's a different fee, right? Well, then what do you do about Monday lessons and, more holidays, all this stuff? What about the summer? The students want to take off or take a break for the summer. Or what if the teacher wants to go to a conference? Do you reschedule? Do you give them a credit? Do you just cancel? Okay, so how to deal with these? Basically, you want to block out the holidays, vacations, teacher conferences, etc. ahead of time. Figure out the same number of Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, etc. for the school year. So you want to manipulate the calendar so that there are the same number of Monday lessons as Tuesday lessons, etc. And some of you might say, well, how do you do that? Well, you just manipulate it. So if you want to take Mondays off, like Labor Day, Memorial Day, what else is there? President's Day, Martin Luther King Day, Columbus Day. There's all these Monday ones, right? You can either not be closed for those, like my studio. We don't close for President's Day or Martin Luther King Jr. And or you can take off other days to make it even. So for example, at my studio, Memorial Day, we're closed, but we're going to close that whole week. So yeah, there's no Monday lessons on Memorial Day, but there's not Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday either. For the summer, offer a set number of lessons, but with flexible scheduling. For example, we're going to have 6 lessons in the summer. And why is it flexible? Well, because we can do those 6 whenever, right? Maybe your student's going to be gone for 3 weeks in June. That's fine. You're not going to have lessons for those 3 weeks in June. You'll have 1 when they get back in June, a couple more in July. You'll still get 6. And I'm showing an older example of my calendar on the screen here if you're watching the video version, just to show you that basically they just follow the calendar, and then there's brown weeks that the studio is closed. They won't have any lessons. And then blue weeks are actually group classes in my studio. So there's no private lessons. They come to a group instead. And then for the summer, instead of a set calendar, it just says summer is June 1 to August 22. And it says students are scheduled for 6 private lessons during this time. And there you go. So here's an example of how you might calculate the flat rate. So you count up the number of lessons during the school year, say that's 35. Okay, and again, you're going to make 35 Mondays, 35 Tuesdays, 35 Wednesdays, etc. You want them all to be the same, especially if you have like a student that's changing days, like, oh, wait, that's a different amount because you're on Wednesday. No, just make it all the same. Then you add the number of summer lessons. So we'll say 6. So you got 35 during the year, 6 during the summer. That's 41 total. Now you're going to subtract approximate absences. For me, I do like 5. So we're going to assume between the student and the teacher canceling, maybe there's 5 missed lessons. That gives you 36 actual lessons. And let's multiply that by 50. I don't know, this is just a random number. You can have any kind of lesson rate in your mind. This could be for a 30-minute lesson, an hour, I don't know, whatever. So 36 lessons times 50, that's $1,800 for the year. I'm going to add $60 for materials, so that's $1,860. Divide by 12 months, that is $155 a month. Okay, now keep in mind, I don't publish all these details. Okay, this isn't in the policy. None of those numbers or anything. It's just the annual tuition. So, for example, it's $155 a month, and here's the calendar. Okay, not all the math. I don't publish all the math. I don't say you get 5 cancellations or you're guaranteed 36 lessons a year, and I don't keep track. The key is the wording of the policy that it's already been figured in to the tuition. Now you might ask, and others have already asked me, okay, wait, what if students don't miss any? Aren't you teaching them for free because you subtracted 5, but then you're not charging them for that, right? So like we added up 35 lessons plus 6 summer, that's 41. So if they come to every single one, you're teaching them 41 lessons, but then you did the math, 36 lessons times your rate. So yes, that's true. But first of all, it's extremely rare that someone would never ever miss. I mean, do you have students that have perfect attendance? And it's extremely rare that I would never ever ever miss. However, even if they did have perfect attendance, I don't see it as a loss because I'm actually charging the tuition that I want to receive in that total amount. In other words, you could reverse engineer the tuition. So start with the amount you want to bring in and then calculate it backwards, which I have a calculator for that as well. Okay, so in other words, if you do the math here and use this calculator to figure out your flat rate, but you're not happy making that much a month for one of those kinds of lessons, if they have perfect attendance or they don't miss or whatever, then just make it higher. Multiply the 36 times something else. Multiply it times 55. Multiply it times 60. Get a higher number that you're happy with. All right, so now I'm going to show you the tuition calculator online that I created just for you. And the link is in the description and the show notes. So there's also little video explanations beside each one if you forget or want an explanation. But I'll just talk through it briefly here. So here's the flat rate tuition calculator. And I sort of zoomed out so that I could fit the whole thing. Hopefully you can see it. So put in the number of lessons during the school year here, 35. Number of summer lessons, 6. Number of missed lessons, 5. And you can see it's already tallying up. That's 41 total, 36 adjusted. Lesson rate, say it's 50. Annual fees, 60. You could also put in a monthly fee. It basically is multiplying that times 12 on the back end. So, you know, if you think like, oh, like $3 a month for each student for materials or for subscriptions or something, you could put that in. And then it just calculates it for you here. It says $1,860 a year, and that's $155 a month. Then the last blank is if you put in the number of students that you have at that rate, it'll tell you how much that is a month and a year. So if I put in 40, then that's $6,200 a month and $74,400 a year. Or maybe you only have 20 students, so that's half of that. Okay, and you can see the numbers adjust immediately. It's really nice. You don't actually have to do the math, and it's fun because you can play with it. I'm a math nerd, so I think it's fun. But you can say, okay, let's change the number of missed lessons to 4. Let's do 5 lessons in the summer instead. Oh, look, that actually ends up being the same, 155 a month, right? Um, let's change the lesson rate to 60. Okay, and again, you can change the lesson rate if you have different tiers or different amounts. Like maybe you charge 40 for 30-minute lessons. So then that'll give you the monthly cost for that. And then you charge like 60 for 45-minute lessons. So it'll give you that. And then you charge 80 for hour lessons. And then it'll give you that. Okay, so you can just use that to your liking. Then if you scroll down, there's a group class flat calculator, flat rate. And you can just do this, enter the number of group classes you will teach each week. So maybe I'll teach 8 classes. And number of students per class, we're going to say 6. Number of weeks per year, enter the number of weeks you're teaching for the whole year. For example, if your studio is closed for 8 weeks, then that's 44. Maybe you have 3 semesters with 15 each, so that's 45. Okay, let's just do 45. And then group class rate, enter the fee for each student per class. Let's say it's $20. Okay, that says it's $900 a year for each student. That's $75 a month. And then it tells you down here the income per class is $120. That's $3,600 a year, or sorry, $3,600 a month, and $43,000 a year. And then you can just play with those numbers. Okay, then scroll down. There's a reverse tuition calculator, and you can say, I want 100,000 a year, and it says, okay, well then that's 8333.33 a month. So then you just enter in here how many 30-minute students, how many 45-minute students, and how many 60-minute students. Then it'll tell you what to charge for each one. So say I have 10 of each, 30 students total. 10 of them do 30, 10 of them do 45, 10 of them do 60. Okay, well this tells you right here. If you want 100,000 a year and you have that many students, then you charge $185 for 30-minute lessons. Pretty cool, huh? Then there's a reverse tuition calculator for group classes. I won't go through it right now, but same idea. Put in the amount you want, and then it'll give you the breakdown. And then this last one, which I found really helpful for people, is tuition increase student loss calculator. So enter your current tuition and proposed increase to calculate how many students you could lose and still have the same income. For example, let's say your tuition is $150 a month for whatever tier or rate, and you have 30 students. Proposed monthly tuition, you don't want to go up too much, so you're afraid, but you say, well, really, I do want to go up to 180, but that seems like a lot. Okay, well, let's put in that we want 180. Number of students you could lose and still have the same income is 5. Okay, so think about that for a second. You have 30 students. If you increase it from 150 to 180, do you think 5 people are going to quit? You might think 1 or 2 will. But see, the calculation shows you 5 could quit and you would still be making the same amount. And then, of course, all the new students you get are paying the higher amount. So it's still good in the long run. And let's say you just wanted to go up a little bit from 150 to 160. Number of students you could lose and still have the same income is 1.8. So 2, right? It's fewer students because you're only going up a little bit. Let's say you want to go from 150 to 200. Right? So actually the more you go up, the more students you could lose because everybody else is paying to make up for them. So you go from 150 to 200 a month, it says you could lose 7.5 students. That's interesting. Wonder, let's make it, well, yeah, duh. I was going to say, what if you doubled your tuition? Well, then you could lose half, right? So we go 300 tuition and you would teach half the students. Of course, if you doubled it, people probably wouldn't be happy, but I just like playing with the numbers. Okay, so those were the tuition calculators. Hopefully that helps. And let me know if you have questions. I would love to hear from you. You can post a comment if you're watching this on YouTube or on the podcast page, thepianosenseiway.com. You can write a comment there. But I hope that's helpful. And if you're not already doing flat rate tuition, I highly encourage it for less stress. The whole point is migraine free, right? Remember, it's so much easier for you, for parents and students, and so that you can focus on teaching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day or evening or whenever you're listening to this. This has been the Piano Sensei Way.